Can we make a D&D character who can control time? Well, Kronos gets pretty close. This Clockwork Soul Sorcerer bends seconds, reverses damage, and makes enemies hold still in time. Once a notable merchant, Kronos made a deal to buy the most important resource that exists: time. Kronos has 1 year to live, and in that time, he has to figure out how to bend time, or his time is over. This build shows how to play the ultimate manipulator of moments. Let's do it. So we're gonna be an Abyssal Tiefling. I don't know exactly which god I talked to bring me back for this year, but I like the idea that I died, maybe went to hell, and I made a deal with the devil. So I kinda like the Tiefling flavor to go along with that. I have this tattoo on my arm that's counting down, similar to the In Time movie, and that is what I am aiming to increase, is my time. And that's why this character is focused on time so much, is because they just want to live longer. Outside of that, what the Abyssal Tiefling is going to give us is resistance against poison, which is super common, so that is very powerful. It's going to give us a mediocre cantrip in Poison Spray. It's going to give us Dark Vision, and then it's going to give us a couple spells. One is a really great spammable spell, Ray of Sickness. Great just to spend a bunch of first level spell slots when you're later level and there's nothing better to do with them. Basically, it acts like a stronger cantrip. But Hold Person is completely in flavor. I love the idea of using Hold Person, and it's us just stopping someone in time. So they're just... that's cool. As the story suggested, our background is being a merchant, which comes with the Lucky Feat. The Lucky Feat I really like on Sorcerer, namely to give our enemies disadvantage against attacking us. Our defenses are pretty dang low at first, and so this combined with Mage Armor is a pretty good defensive strategy. As for our level by level breakdown, we are taking every single level in Clockwork Soul Sorcerer. Level 1, I grabbed Deception and Intimidation to round out our face skills, so we can be a face. Now the main playstyle we're going to have through this whole build is a Control Caster. We're going to get Spellcasting, and Spellcasting I'm really going to flavor in one of three ways. There's really not a ton of time-based spells in the game, so how do we get every one of our spells to feel like time-based spells? Well, the first is reversing time. Things like Mending or Lesser or Greater Restoration, or even Dispel Magic, where it's just like we go back in time where that thing was either fixed, healthy, or didn't exist at all. That's kind of cool. Then we have slowing time. Spells like Hypnotic Pattern, Hold Person, or Slow itself, where we're affecting our enemies negatively. Now they just move slower. So a spell like Ray of Frost can actually be kind of time elemented here. And finally, we have speeding up time. Expeditious Retreat, Haste, and with a little creativity, Shield. Instead of us creating this barrier, we just saw them move in slow motion and we moved quicker and dodged it. So as you can see, it's more about how we flavor things, but those are the three ways I'm going to be flavoring our spells. And I'm not going to talk about spells a whole bunch through this build because that starts right here and it never ends. Just look at the spell list for the level you're at, think about which ones fit into these three, and take it. And that ends up making us a Control Caster through and through. Now as for our cantrips, I previously mentioned Ray of Frost. I do like slowing them down. That has a time element to it. But I also like Mind Sliver. All right, our time cantrips, there's not many. But I like the idea that how we're damaging them is we're just ticking down their clock. And that's what Mind Sliver's psychic damage is. More importantly though, it's going to combine with all of our saving throw spells. We really don't attack with this build, which is pretty unusual for a sorcerer nowadays, but everything's going to be saving throw oriented. And so this can help us set ourselves up to do really powerful save or suck spells that they're very likely to suck on. And while we're on the topic of our saving throw, innate sorcery has two elements to it. You can give your attacks advantage, or your saving throws get a +1 to try and save against them. Advantage is better, which really kind of pushes sorcerers into more of a blaster playstyle nowadays. We're not doing that. We're going to be using that +1 for our saving throws, which, while not as good as the advantage, is still pretty dang good. That's the equivalent of a magic item around 5th level. Level 2, we're going to get our Metamagic, and I previously mentioned Quickened. It's a must-take. It's so in flavor, we speed ourselves up to do more stuff, and it also combines really well with Mind Sliver and our spells. Take it here. Now, one that isn't as powerful but is really good for flavor and will eventually be powerful is Extended Spell. This one is about making our spells last longer, but more importantly, it's about giving us advantage on concentration saves against that spell. All the other metamagics I'm going to take aren't quite in flavor, but we got Twin Spell, Careful, Heightened, and Distant. All of those are good and you'll want to pick them up eventually, but I'm going to be taking the 2 time-oriented ones right away just because we're not getting our second set until level 10, so I really want to establish the time flavor early. Is it optimal? No. Is it the choice I'm making? Yes. Kind of similar to spells, as I don't have much more to say about metamagic until about level 20, so I won't be talking much more about it from here on. Level 3, we get Clockwork Soul. We're now one with the clock that we're trying to manipulate. It comes with a really solid spell list. Some things like Lesser Restoration and Greater Restoration are in that time flavor. A lot of it isn't, but what isn't is pretty dang powerful, with the standout being Wall of Force. Incredible spell. We're also going to get Restore Balance, which allows us a Charisma modifier times per day as a reaction, neutralize either advantage or disadvantage. So if your rogue has disadvantage, not anymore, go ahead and make that sneak attack. If you're being attacked with advantage, not anymore, it's base. So this combined with Lucky kind of is our defensive element right now. We're always trying to get people to attack us at disadvantage where we can, or certainly not attack us at advantage. Honestly, we just don't want to be attacked at all, but when it happens, we have these in our back pocket to try and protect ourselves. Or our allies, but mostly ourselves. Level 4 is an off flavor. I couldn't really find a feat that really fit the time flavor for me, so I went with Telekinetic. The reason I went with this is that it gives us a really consistent bonus action. We're not really bonus action heavy, so this allows us to weave in a semi-useful bonus action that can sometimes be extremely useful if we're breaking grapples with it, for example. It is forced movement raw. That just means the grapple is instantly broken, which can be very, very powerful. I often find DMs will make it a check instead of just a straight up break at witches rules as written. I don't blame them. I would do the same. And of course, this comes with a Charisma bump. Charisma is the most important thing to level up at this point. Level 5, we get Sorceress Restoration, which allows us on a short rest to get some of our sorcery points back. It's okay, nothing crazy. Really, what we're excited about is this is the level that control casters really come into their own. 3rd level spells are king of control casting. So Hypnotic Pattern is the clear standout, such a powerful spell, and it just ends combats. But more in flavor, we have Slow and Haste, which are solid spells in their own right, just not quite up to Hypnotic Pattern's snuff. But in any case, this is where control casters often are considered the most powerful casters in the game from here on forward. Control is a very powerful style of play, and we just stepped into it in a big way. Level 6, we get Bastion of Law. This is going to be a barrier made of d8s and our sorcery points. It's going to eat through sorcery points pretty quick, so you do have to balance that against how often you're using your meta magics. But you can have a collection of d8s to completely negate damage. This is good for a couple different things. It's good to say, hey, I don't want to make a concentration save. I'm just going to completely nullify that damage as best I can. It also responds really well to resistances. So if you give this to your barbarian who's getting hit by an axe, it's going to go a long way because it's going to go twice the distance plus some because of rounding down. But in any case, you're going to get a lot of value out of this feature in that case where resistance is coming into play. It's worth talking about here that I chose to be a control caster because of the time theme. This was all about flavor. But what was a happy accident is the Clockwork Soul Sorcerer's features really line up with defense. And that's what a control caster needs. Once we have our control elements out there, it's not like we're going to be dishing out the damage. We just need to maintain our control elements, and that's the most value we're going to be giving. And so by having defensive features, we're less likely to lose our concentration and thus keep our control going. Level 7, we get the ability to use innate sorcery even when we don't have that feature anymore by using 2 sorcery points, which is probably just worth it. Remember that when someone fails against us, they're probably gonna just suck. Like, it's almost like killing them if they fail 1 saving throw against us. So innate sorcery giving us that +1 to every single saving throw we throw out there is a pretty big deal. This also allows us to use 2 Metamagics at once. I don't see that coming up too often, but it's there if we need it. Level 8 is a classic Charisma bump. Level 9, 10, and 11 is all about spells. And honestly, I'm still more excited about our 3rd level spells than the 4th, 5th, and 6th level spells combined. There's some decent spells in there, but I'm keeping it in theme. And when you're keeping it in theme, everything I found was situational. So I still see us using our 3rd level spells at this level, and I don't see it being bad still. That's how powerful those 3rd level spells are. Level 12 is a classic con bump. That is health plus our concentration saves. Fantastic. Level 13 is just another spell level. We do get Delayed Blast Fireball here, which is an awesome spell because it actually has a time element baked into it, which is really, really cool. However, using that time element is pretty difficult because most people are going to clear the blast zone as soon as Delay Fireball is cast. You can use it to kind of create a pseudo wall to escape. You and your party are running away, you leave a Delayed Blast Fireball behind you. They can either run into it and explode, or they can avoid it, in which case you have more time to run. Kind of niche for now. Level 14, we get Trance of Order. For 1 minute, this allows us to not be attacked at disadvantage, and anytime we make a d20 check, we're going to treat anything below a 9 as a 10. So when are we going to be using this? If somebody is pressuring us who has consistent advantage against us, it's going to be pretty rare, I think. If you're facing an enemy who's consistently making you make saves, or they make you make saves that if you fail 1, it's bad news, that would be a time you'd use it. And I can also see you using it in a series of skill checks. Since we're the face, it's probably we're going into a negotiation, and we pop this when we need 1 minute of just like, we are fantastic negotiators. Overall, at level 14, I think this is a bit of a lackluster feature, but it does have its use cases. At level 15, the spell that stands out to me most is Power Word Stun. It's another freeze them in time type spell. The nice part about it is you can get that first round with no save. You just have to kind of get a read on their health points. And then after that, they get to make con saves, which they're probably gonna be pretty dang good at. So I don't expect it to last long, and there's a good chance that we might have something better to upcast at this level, but it does fit the flavor and it can be good. It's pretty crazy to me that straight up, if it was just 1-to-1 comparison, Hypnotic Pattern versus this 8th level Power Word Stun, I would take Hypnotic Pattern. No matter what level we're talking about that. Level 3 spells are crazy. Level 16, classic Constitution buff. Now, if you're going to be taking an epic boon that's gonna boost your Constitution, go ahead and take Speedy here for a con bump so you can kind of round it out. I'm going with a different epic boon feat, so I'm just gonna grab Constitution here and have my stats be a little bit wonky there at the end. Not perfect, but I don't care. It's what the epic boon I want. Level 17, we get Time Stop. This is a really cool spell to kind of end our careers. We've been aiming to stop time, and this is kind of the manifestation of us doing that. You know, for the first time ever, we might be staring at our arm and the clock is completely stopped, and that probably feels pretty good. Whether or not it's going to solve our problems, I don't know. That's more of the story that plays out. But this does really enable Delayed Blast Fireball. So we can use Time Stop, cast a Delayed Blast Fireball, and then go ahead and do whatever we can. On the final one of our turns, we go ahead and use our concentration spell that is going to be controlling as many people as possible, and then boom, everything explodes. So this can be powerful, but it's not near as powerful as something like Wish, but it is cool flavor-wise, so there's no way I'm passing it up. At level 18, we get Clockwork Cavalcade. It's hard for me to say. This is a really cool feature. It's a very support feature all burned into one. So once per day, we can kind of do an aura around us, and it's going to heal up to 100 HP. It's going to dispel anything we want to dispel that 6th level spell or lower, and then it repairs any damaged objects. Now that last one isn't going to be used that often, but I imagine when it is used, your DM's jaw is going to hit the floor when he expected the gate breaking to be the moment the horde comes in, but you're just like, nope, the gate's rebuilt all at once. That's a really cool moment. More importantly though, of course, is the burst healing and the dispel. Now what's really cool is we can reuse this for 7 sorcery points. 100 HP for 7 sorcery points is a pretty good deal. And at this level, it means we can do it twice. So because we get one free and we can do it twice, restore it with our sorcery points, that means 300 HP and 3 6th level and lower dispels all packed into one feature. That's pretty strong. And it kind of plays into this tankiness. And this really is nice because not only are we a control sorcerer, it does show the elements of us that is support, which we've had the whole time with things like lesser restoration and greater restoration. That's always been in our back pocket. And it just is another one of those cool things that we can do since we're not going to be dishing out the damage. We set our team up and then, you know, we could either cast a cantrip or we could go save a teammate. So which one are you going to do? Level 19, I went with Boon of Spell Recall. And I really like this one here completely for the flavor. It's just sometimes when we use one of our lower level spell slots, it just never got used. And I kind of like that element of we narrowly went back in time to restore that spell slot. I thought that was kind of cool. Could you do better here? Absolutely. Once again, don't care. I like it for flavor. We're taking it. All right, finally we're at level 20 and we get Arcane Apotheosis. This allows us to use one of our metamagics every single turn for free. Now, more often than not, I imagine our concentration spell we're casting, it's either gonna be heightened or extended, so we have advantage on that concentration save. Past that, I imagine it's gonna be a lot of quicken stuff, because it's non-concentration spell, so it's either gonna be non-concentration spell plus cantrip or 2 cantrips, which is going to significantly increase our day in, day out damage output, which is nice. But I'd say the most important thing about this feature is we're just not using our sorcery points for anything other than our class features. If we use 14 of those for Clockwork Cavalcade, however you say that, and then 6 of them for our barrier, that is a ton of life restored and or negated. We're talking like 330-ish. That's a lot of life from a support character. Meanwhile, we're doing all of our control stuff at the same time. Pretty dang powerful. And that's the build. I'm most excited to play this build for the flavor of it. I really like the story of the time ticking down. I like using time-based spells. Now I know there's been some homebrew to do some time-based stuff, but I feel like this is a really good package for if you're doing only raw to be able to still get that time wizard flavor even though we're a sorcerer. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. Don't forget to vote for the next deep build subclass. And with that, my friends, I hope you have yourselves an incredible day and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.